go for it.
You were second in qualifying today. Personally, we've seen you top of qualifying before. Tomorrow, maybe #1 in qualifying will be yours, but today you were 2.83 seconds behind Andy Marakilian. That is a big gap between you and the #1 in qualifying today. What are you going to do about it?
I mean, qualifying doesn't mean too much, but obviously try and close that gap tomorrow. Started off pretty badly for me today in practice. We had some course changes, things like that, so I wasn't too familiar with the course. But I think tomorrow everyone will have a lot more experience, so be going for #1 qualifying.
We'll see if you can do it. Congratulations, Brett Collis, through to the semi-finals with Next Blades Racing. Yeah, #2 in qualifying today. Next Blades Racing through. So there are your semi-finals for today. Day 1 of Madrid and our third race of 2018. Quad Force 1 have an eye on a final, and to do that, they'll have to beat the champions of Munich Day 1, Rotorama. And then Next Blades Racing, the world champions and champions of Day 2 of Munich, want to wipe Swiss Black Kites out. And if Quad Force 1 meets Swiss Black Kites in the final, that's a repeat of a really good final we had in Munich. So exciting storylines can all work their way out of this with pilots we know well from last year, but Quad Force 1 are really mixing things up, and they're going to be in our first semi-final against Rotorama, and that's going to be with you shortly. Those quarterfinals, Martijn, some good performances, some disappointing ones, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But across the board, very, very impressive racing. So we had some great battles.
Yep, and as you can see, a lovely shot of Las Ventas. It's going to be interval time now, and people are just grabbing a drink and grabbing a bite, and we will head towards our semi-finals in due course. One of our semi-finalists are the Czech team Rotorama, third in the World Championship last year, won our first Drone Prix of 2018. But if you haven't seen them before, let's introduce you to more about these great pilots.
We are a racing team with the best pilots in the region. So we develop our own products. We are big fans of drone racing. We are all flying for about 3 years, and we are really happy that we can compete with the best pilots in the world. We meet once or twice per week. The environment in our ruins of castles here. During winter it's a bit more challenging as the weather is really cold here in the Czech Republic. There's a lot of snow, a lot of rain, so it's also quite challenging to have the quads waterproofed, because when you land or crash in snow, you need to be able to fly again. So these natural places are quite good because they're usually quite structured. Small ones, big ones. Every time you fly there, the track is quite new, so you need to learn quickly. When you are not flying in a completely comfortable environment, that's something that also helps you during the racing. As our pilots are quite young, they need to get more experience on the big scene with a lot of spectators, with a lot of stress. Flying in this cold environment helps you to train how to concentrate. Well, how to start on this? Before the final race, we were leaders of the overall rankings. Finally, we ranked third, which was a bit of disappointment after all that season. We tried to prepare ourselves as much as possible. We had all the technical parts were perfectly working. Pilots were training before the races. During qualification, we placed, I don't know, second or third, so quite good result. But in quarterfinals, it's all about 2 or 3 flights, and sometimes you are just not lucky enough. I think that I was the only team owner who was also flying. It was really very exhausting and really very stressful for me. I have passed through many moments when it was just too much for me. I'm not trying to be the superhero who is able to do everything. And for this season I have decided to concentrate only on flying and not managing the team. I have introduced Jirka Fiedler to DCL, and he will be responsible for all the small details that need to be done and also for arguing for our team. For this season, there is one big addition to the team, Lukáš Lendvorský. He's one of the best pilots in the Czech Republic. He is completely comparable to Jakub Toman, who was our best pilot in last season, and I think that he also will be the best in 2018.
Each of our pilots excels in different styles, like Jakub and Lukáš are the fast guys, and Jan and David are the stable guys, the reliable guys.
The pilots that I take for a particular race, it's based on their long-term performance, not some tournament or something like that. As a pilot, I learned that I need to practice a bit more. I still believe I'm able to be competitive. That's my long-time passion, to work on something new or on something that it's not established yet. All the pilots in Rotorama are also my friends. It's not a business project. Our team for this season is even more powerful than before, so hopefully we will be able to manage it.
Jan Mittner there, the owner and manager of Rotorama, who intends to do some flying with them this season, but we haven't seen him yet. What we have seen are good performances from his pilots, and I guess when you get the win on the very first Drone Prix of the year, as we mentioned back in Munich 12 days ago, well, 13 days ago for that race, yeah, don't change, don't fix it if it isn't broke.
Don't change the winning team, right?
Then day two, they went out in those quarterfinals. So, yeah, they had a really, one extreme to the other of a weekend.
Yep. Yeah, but you rarely see a winning team doing it again on the second day.
That's true. Yeah, now why is that? Why is that? Everybody else just kind of warms up and gets back into the fight.
Yeah. I think winning, everything, the stars just need to align, you know?
Yeah.
It's about more than just good racing. You have technical problems, you need to make sure that your drone works. Tiniest mistakes can have disastrous results. So
that's true, and we've seen just a little bit off a line, admittedly a very big line when you're talking about an air gate, but just a little bit where you don't want to be can wipe you out. This is quite an unforgiving sport, isn't it, Martin? You hit these things hard. Yeah, that race is over. Yeah, that heat point is done, but that is one of your quads possibly just out for this whole location as well. The guys are always working late. These pilots always, fixing their drones and working late on them to try and repair them. Maybe for the next heat, certainly for the next day, you can bring between 3 or 5 to a race location, and it's quite possible you need all of them.
Oh yeah. I know that some pilots only have 3, and then once you end up in the net, a crash basically will cost you a race.
Or in the water, as we saw in the lake of the Munich Olympic Park that we were in just under 2 weeks ago. All the drones were recovered by a team armed with speedboats and jet skis and poles, and at times just in their underwear at 11 p.m. And I have to give all props to the guys at DCL and our runner team as well, who got not just their hands dirty in getting drones out of a lake.
Oh yeah.
At 11:30 at night. It's not quite that late here. It's 11:15 in Madrid, and we have our semi-finals and grand final to come, and we'll be bringing you those shortly as well. But if you're new to drone racing, and we are the Drone Champions League, hi and welcome. Martijn, take us through a little bit of this. We've got some example stuff here on our desk, because you don't get to see these things up close, particularly when we're flying them at 140 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. Shall we start with the goggles?
Yeah.
Maybe let's just cover the goggles, because I think this is the most futuristic part of drone racing. In here we have 2 lenses that are adjustable for, basically to fit different sizes of heads. I personally have a pretty big head.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So for me, I really need the maximum diopter distance.
Okay.
But inside of these things are 2 screens that will display a live feed from the FPV camera that is inside here. Actually, we're using 2 cameras. The GoPro, it's a GoPro Session. It's nice and small. HD footage.
Yep. Some of them are 4K, actually. Some of the sessions we're using are 4K as well.
Yeah.
That's to record footage for our magazine program. That is our show, which we have on over 100 TV channels worldwide, so as well as live streaming these races that we're doing to you right now from here in Madrid. Also, everything of this racing weekend gets turned into a magazine show that's on over 100 channels. So look out for that. You'll be able to find the Drone Champions League on a TV channel somewhere near you. So that's what the GoPros are for, but the pros are flying with the
yeah, we're flying
camera.
with the FPV cameras. And basically they are set up the same way as security cameras. They are simple, they are light, but they are very good at handling different light situations. So that's why we're able to fly here almost in the dark. And this is transmitted through a video transmitter that you cannot see to the antenna and back into this antenna, ultimately receiving, received by the pilot.
Yep.
So that's how it works.
That's a little bit of how that works. And if you want to see it in action, let's go to semi-finals. Semi-final number 1. Back to our stage. The American team really want this today. In good shape to take it for the semi-finals. Quad Force 1. Now these guys have been on a real kind of journey throughout DCL so far. Their opposition, they can fight. They've got some good support from some friends here in Spain. Sweden? I was about to say Sweden.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hide that.
Oh, Sweden is nice as well. It's
not good. Well, we're not there. We're in
not
Madrid.
as warm.
I mean, it's 27 degrees here right now, and it's 10:30, no, nearly 10 to 11 at night. I'll get some things right. I'll tell you that they're Rotorama, but opposite them is Evan Turner. So remember, we start in the single heats with the slowest pilot in qualifying for each team. Evan Turner was the fastest for Quad Force 1 out in Munich, but he is the slowest so far today. So Evan Turner is up for Quad Force 1, and Jan Votava will be his opposition for single heat number 1. I keep having to describe how Quad Force 1 had that 5-0 wipeout in their first race. That quarterfinal in Munich, and then 5-0'd their opposition in the other quarterfinal, and made it all the way to the grand final. I mean, that is real kind of fighting spirit that you have to admire. They haven't yet faced Rotorama though. So what have we got between Evan Turner in blue, the light blue, and Jan Votava in red? Oh, Turner! Just rolls that thing to its death. And Jan Votava will just glide us around. Oh, now Turner is in this, and he's back in this at speed. He couldn't have rolled it really any more times. Pitched it and pitched it and pitched it, and over and over and over it went, but he's got it back in the air. He's 8 seconds behind on that last measurement, but you know what? He's taken 2 and nearly 3 seconds out of that. Votava has not got this by any means all to himself, although Turner got into a bit of slow action in the first chicane as Votava exited the second. Here's Votava on 5.33 seconds of a lead. Yeah, Turner hasn't known anything about that distance at all. And Votava will come round second chicane. Lap 3 is his. This heat point is his now. Turner is down again, and I don't think he's coming back into this. So Votava is home, and the first point goes to Rotorama. Unexpected to see Turner get that thing back in the air. What happened to him off of the starting blocks?
He had some video problems. His video completely blacked out. And that's what caused him to crash into one of those entrances of the arena. Luckily, he landed with the right side up, so he could actually get up and continue the race. Well, Votava was on a very big lead.
Yeah, 8 and a bit seconds. Came down to 5.
Yeah.
But, yeah, That was, after that point, Votava, whatever had lost 3 seconds of his lead, Votava seemed to figure that out. And Turner didn't, unfortunately, get any finisher point there. And it is quite close on finisher points between these two teams. We'll discuss that as we get towards Big Heat. Next up, though, Lucas Lenversky against Alex Campbell.
10 seconds countdown.
Alex Campbell making a good name for himself in the DCL and a lot of fans and friends as well. Lucas Lenversky did it where it counts, in the air. Got a load of points for his team. Campbell's got a terrible view, really, coming out of that first chicane, but his quad is still in the air, unlike Lenversky's, who appears to have left this race all to Alex Campbell. Now, meanwhile, on our stage, protest flags were being picked up, but it is too late for Evan Turner to register any kind of protest for any issues he had in his single heats, because once the next one has started, your protest lodging period is done. Talking of done, Alex Campbell and Lucas Lenversky, and that is 1-1 now.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a protest actually. If there is, I'm not sure what.
Well,
that
it's too late for
would be
Evan.
about.
Evan can't,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it could be either. But it was just interesting to see that they were at least moving a flag around. On
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. What happened in this race actually is that both of the pilots launched very, very quickly. They had a very fast launch, and they had a small mid-air collision, which is what we see here. It was.
Oh, wow. Lenversky is so low. He's into the wires on the floor.
Yeah, well, his direction towards the gate was way off.
Yeah.
Trying to correct
yeah.
it, but at this speed, and
No.
again, at the slopey, we have to keep that word in, at the slopey track that we're flying on, yeah,
I mean,
it's
banked
unforgiving.
is a word, raked
Banked.
is a word as well. But
Banked,
no,
yeah.
Slopey. Slopey's fine.
Slopey? Yeah, all right. Let's roll with it.
Okay, 1-1. We haven't seen a lot of that. We haven't had a 2-2 going into the big heat yet, and they are quite common in DCL. It is something we've seen many times, actually, is a big heat where it's just, well, whoever wins this has got it. We don't need the bonus points for second, third, and fourth. It's been 2-2 going into big heats, but not so far here in Madrid.
Yep.
So we'll go for single heat number 3 between Corey Ibanez of Quad Force 1 and David Svoboda. That, though, is Svoboda's red Rotorama drone being armed there.
Yeah, Swoboda actually started flying with one of those DJI Phantoms, a filming drone. Fell in love with FPV, and now his favorite track elements are power loops. Can you believe that?
Oh, yes?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have any here. Would be nice to introduce a power loop into a DCL track.
Yeah, I would like to see some of that. What do you think? Let us know in the chat on YouTube and Facebook. What would you like from your DCL racing courses? You don't know some of the locations we're going to this year. You won't believe where we're going to next. I would tell you, but we got a race. Haha. Corey Ibanez in blue, David Svoboda in red. He had video issues, but his drone's been sorted out. He's in the air, and he's under and fast and past Ibanez through this chicane. I am expecting a good fight between these two pilots. Please don't disappoint us with, crashes. Not that I don't mind a good crash, don't get me wrong. David Svoboda, 4/5 of a second in front of Corey Ibanez. And Svoboda's got really nice lines coming out of that DCL gate and into that chicane. They go fast across the bowl of Las Ventas and over the slopey bit, which is all of it. Svoboda still in the lead, but Ibanez is still in this thing, and look at him pass him onto lap 3. And Ibanez a bit twitchy low onto that chicane, but he's still got it in the air. He's given a bit of lead away to Svoboda. But if he can catch him like that again, then this race is by no means over. He's come round fast in the second chicane and he's hit the ground. Ibanez in the second chicane, the exit part through the DCL gate, gave him some trouble. He's back in the air, as you can see. The Svoboda is already home, and Ibanez, is he getting there? He does. Not quite sure where he went for a moment there, I'll be honest with you. Looking both at my screen here and also out at the bowl as the crash gate is so close to us. This is Ibanez getting into a little bit of trouble. Scary thing for a pilot to see.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Recovered it.
Yeah, he did.
7.5 seconds later.
I really love the passion of Ibanez. He was flying super aggressive, trying to catch Svoboda, who in his turn managed to keep his cool throughout the race.
Got it home.
What
got
happens?
to finish a point, and they are looking like they're going to really matter.
And what happens in this, like the third lap of each race, is that the battery voltage is a lot lower than when the race has just started. That makes it harder to control the drone. Also makes it harder.
We'll talk about that when we get a little bit of time, because I think it's very interesting for people who are less aware how these things work.
Let's do that.
The battery capacity is not the only important thing. Clearly, these batteries can make it to the end of a race, but they have an effect during it as well. This is a fast one, and this is Andy Marakilian in blue, who is the fastest in qualifying today by almost 3 seconds over Brett Collis. And his opponent is Jakob Thoman, who is 0.06 of a second behind him and occasionally in front of him. That chicane is no problem for either of these pilots, but Marakilian comes out with the lead of it now, leaving Thoman behind. Thoman, though, is much tighter into the chicane, too tight. He bites the dust. He goes onto the slopey bit out of the second chicane. Marakilian's stick time will be all of lap 3 to himself. He destroyed all of the other 35 pilots in qualifying. Marakilian qualified this with his fastest time. Overall, when we add together cumulative laps, and so we do qualifying, we add together the fastest cumulative laps of pilots. Marakilian's time was 45.07 seconds. Remember that. It's going to be very interesting to see if anybody can qualify tomorrow, having had more practice here, than 45.07, which was Marakilian's cumulative lap time. Made him #1 in qualifying, made him deadly for Quad Force 1 here.
Yeah, coming in low in this corner. Oh, it's so tricky, these corners.
Low seems to be the thing, though, isn't it? There's not many hitting the top of gates. They're hitting and occasionally breaking the bottom of gates.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but what happens here is not just a 180 corner. It seems like it's a 180 corner, but actually it's a drop corner. And yeah, that's a combination of movements that makes it very tricky to steer your quad in the right direction.
If you've watched Drone Champions League before, you'll have heard me say winner takes it all or do or die a few times as we get into these situations, but this is as tight as it can be. It's 2 all on heat points, it's all 15 all on finisher points. Now the finish points aren't going to matter because whoever wins this big heat has got it, but that's how tightly matched these two teams are.
Yeah.
Dead even. Those finisher points are clocked up, the 15 of them for each team, based on finishing races, but also finishing laps in qualifying and in practice too. So it all counts. It's all there to separate a dead heat between teams, but that's not going to happen. This big heat is really going to settle it. One of these teams will go to the grand final. Quad Force 1 have 220 points after our 2 races in Munich. They went out in that first quarterfinal, but it came second on day 2. Rotorama have 330 points after winning day 1 and coming 5th on day 2. So they had opposite fortunes. And the scoring system for the Drone Champions League is 250 for the winner of a Drone Prix, 220 for second, 200 for third, and 150 for fourth. So both of these teams guaranteed more points on the board after reaching the semi-finals. Look at that beautiful shot of how that is lighting up the night sky here in Las Ventas in Madrid until we turn the drone back off again.
Yeah, what they're doing right now is they have a wand in their hand, and with the wand they can change the video channels of the drones. So that's what you saw happening there.
That was kind of a commentator's curse on the lighting of a drone. I've never had that effect before. All commentators at some point curse a competitor in any kind of sport. I've never made a drone turn its lights off before. People in chat, hello to you. Thank you for watching us. Can they change their drone's color? Nope. Last year, if you watched, every team did have 2 colors, a kind of home and away color. The higher seed got first choice of their color in a race. And if the other team had the same preferred color, they had to pick their secondary color. This year, every team has its own color.
Very good call.
Blue for Quad Force 1 all season long and red for Rotorama everywhere we go.
Yeah, that's a good call on the organization's part, because I remember making it to the final And once you make it through the semifinals, and you have to prepare your quads very fast for the finals.
Yeah.
And then change LED colors. Yeah, it's not as easy as it seems. Let's put it that way.
There's Hannah from our brilliant crew, our wonderful team of spotters and runners, telling our pilots, if you've got video, then please spin up your drone so we know. So that's looking good.
It's going to be an interesting race because right now the points are 2 and 2, so winner takes all.
There you are. Yeah, so you've got that now.
But we have Quad Force 1 as the fastest qualifier of today. We have 3. Am I correct? Yes, we have 3 of their pilots.
Yep.
That are faster than the fastest pilot of Rotorama, which was Jakub Thoman. So if it's going to be a replay of the qualifier times, Quad Force 1 should be quite confident. But I know that Rotorama may have some tricks up their sleeve.
Do they?
Yes.
Tricks up their sleeve?
Yeah, they tricked me once. Actually, it was Jan.
Yeah?
Yeah, my friends still talk about it. He beat me in 2016
I want to know all about
event.
this.
Yeah, he beat me in the 2016 event in Romania, inside the cave, on the very, very last second, I tell you. Actually, it's so bad that if I race with my friends and someone overtakes you at the very last moment, they say, you got Jan Mietnert.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's going to stick.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of drone issues. Look at Quad Force 1 chilling out on our stage, getting ready for it, all looking very relaxed. They are such good guys, so much fun, chatty, lively, and wanting to get those American flags up on this stage when they win it on the 4th of July. That's their intention. Rotorama can ruin all of that 4th of July party. And I know some of you in the chat are with Team USA here as well. Go Team Trump? That's not what we're calling them. And yeah, Vince is heckling you now for being Jan Mittler. Oh, now look how good that looks. Rotorama's red drones armed. I think we're going to get into race, otherwise I'll ask you more about those batteries, and we'll come back to that battery issue. There's only 2 of our starting drones lit for Quad Force 1.
Yeah, I see the runners getting out of the way.
Evan's not got his goggles on, and he's got the frontmost starting block. So is Evan going to feature in this? You can see from left to right. First 2 drones for Quad Force 1 aren't in this. That's the slowest 2 pilots. That's Evan Turner and Alex Campbell. And they're not going to be in this. FPV goggles are not on for those 2 pilots. Whatever those issues are, it's not getting resolved for them. The race is underway, but as you saw at the top of the pictures, Svoboda and Lemversky hit the bowl, the slopey bit, Martijn, hard. They're done. Tobin is done. Now Votava is out in front, and whoever wins this is taking their team to the finals, and one of Rotorama can do it, and it looks like... Yeah, Turner and Campbell, remember, they're not even in this. They're not being flagged as DNFs. They didn't start. Marakilian is in the lead. Ibanez is up the front with him. Votava has bought this race out. And Quad Force 1 will be in our grand final. They get a point for this. It is Marakilian who takes it in a brilliant time. And Quad Force 1 are delighted on stage as that Independence Day big win could be theirs. They're in the grand finals. Rotorama leave us in the semis. Yeah, 2 drones lost signal, never took part in this. Oh, and we have a fire. That is not common in DCL. Our runners will sort that out.
Yeah, they're fast.
And I think maybe our first ever fire. Everybody's ready for it, though, as you can see. We know what we're doing. Our team know what we're doing. Here comes David Svoboda. Votava was in. No, this is earlier on. Oh, he's been hit. Yeah, that's how they went down. That was early on the first lap when he and I forget, was it Lemversky? They left that race early on. There you go.
That's so unfortunate. Yeah, a mid-air collision, you know, it can always happen.
Well, you heard Brett saying earlier on, sometimes in a big heat when he knows they don't all have to be at the front.
Right, yeah.
He'll hold back a bit.
Yeah, great strategy on next blazer.
Now, as you can see, for the first time today, it's been a very straightforward day of racing.
Oof. That
race is under review.
It is, yeah. I thought it should be because I saw Jakub Thoman take off and having some video problems. Now they're going to investigate if it's on the drone side. The problem is on the drone side, or
you think
it
this
could
is a
be on
video
the
protest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite sure about that. But it could be a problem on the drone side. It could also be a problem on the receiving end.
We will take our first trip of the day to our stage and our place for Lucas Baumann, Chief Judge of the DCL, and find out what's going on. Okay, Lucas is still investigating, I think. He's on the right of that big, beautiful black and yellow DCL stage.
Yep.
And we'll go back to him on stage now and see what that review is.
Hello, Lucas.
The big heat in the semifinals, we had a protest for video issues on pilot number 5, and a rerun of the big heat will be granted.
That's huge news. Thank you, Lucas. So, a rerun of the big heat is going to be granted, and if you can see on our stage, there are no pilots there. Everybody left that stage.
Yep.
I don't think anybody expected that rerun, but it has been granted to pilot number 5. Now, that's Jakub Thoman, who lost his single heat to Andy Marakilian. That was the 4th single heat that we had. So they've protested. We weren't aware that that protest was going in, or we'd have flagged up that this possibly was still in jeopardy. So where we're at then is the 2-all that it was for Quad Force 1 against Rotorama going into that big heat may not be the case. It looks like Andy Marakilian's win in that big heat isn't under question. That was pretty straightforward what we saw, everything that happened there. So, although it was 2-all going into that big heat, and Andy Marakilian picked up a point, making it 3-2 for Quad Force 1, Andy Marakilian beat out Jakub Thoman in single heat 4, and that point is now going to be rerun. So we go back to it being a 2-all situation, a winner takes it all situation.
Yeah, I think we're getting a rerun of the big heat.
We're getting a rerun of the big heat?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. In the big heat, Jakub Thoman was having video problems. And our chief judge is in touch with the lovely team of spotters who were quick to make the decision and grant the rerun.
To our stage, we'll get on with semi-final number 2. And you see there Next Blades Racing. And I think the rerun will come after this. I think we'll move on with semi-final 2. And then, don't worry, we'll figure out who is the opponent for the final between Quad Force 1 and Rotorama. We'll come back to that. It is the big heat under investigation. You're quite right, Martijn. Apologies for any confusion from me. We'll come back and we'll do that big heat. But first, to our stage are the Swiss Black Kites. There's their huddle. We love that they do it. They're the only ones who do. And it is semi-final time for them for the first time in 2018. Dario Neuenschwander is on the right of your picture now. Raphael Stroll, close up there of Martin Paresh, but Yannick Glauser is on the left. Just on that. There's his arm. There's his arm. That's Yannick Glauser's arm. So Next Blades Racing against Swiss Black Kites. Now I was talking about the points that teams were carrying into the semi-final. Quad Force 1 on 220 for the season and Rotorama on 330. It's a bit different here. Next Blades Racing are currently in the lead for the season with 450, and Swiss Black Kites have nothing. They'll get 150 at least, becoming at least 4th here. They'll want more than that, and Dario Neuenschwander will lead the charge against Luke Bannister. So this is Swiss Black Kites with Neuenschwander in purple, and Bannister's blue drone on the left. There is just out of the box, slightly behind him, but we know that doesn't count for a lot in the DCL. They're through that first gate together, and Bannister takes the lead. And for most pilots, Bannister in front of you is not something you want to see because he tends to stay there, and the reason you don't see him isn't because you passed him. Tends to be because he gets further and further away. Neuenschwander, though, is already hard down onto the ground, or if you prefer, Martijn, a slopey bit.
Yeah, the slopey bit. Yeah. Yeah, Dario new to the DCL, now having to face the champion, Luke Bannister, clipping the Breitling gate in a beautiful cartwheel there. Another relatively easy point for Luke Bannister.
Yeah, definitely. So that's that one. And next to him, Heiko Schenk, who is second fastest for that team. So they'll go in the same order as they did in quarterfinals. They'll always be in the same order throughout a whole racing day. So it'll be Heiko Schenk next against Raphael Strahl. So this is a bit of a tasty contest. These two pilots know each other well.
Oh, yeah.
There's Raphael.
10 seconds countdown.
He's got 4 wins to his name from 2017. And 3 of those were in single heats. He's in purple, Heiko Schenk's in blue. Different pitch from both of those pilots, pretty much left the blocks at the same time, but you saw Strahl convert his lift into forward velocity and a lead over Heiko Schenk. As they go into the second chicane, Schenk hits the pylon. Nobody's done, sorry, Raphael Strahl in purple has hit the pylon. Nobody's done that yet. That did not wipe him out. He's back in, but he is lost. He is just lost. Circling, trying to find his bearings on the circuit. Schenk is so far ahead of him, he might lap him. We've never had it done that I can remember. Strahl is still on his way around. No, Strahl has screwed up the first chicane. Schenk has got him, I think. No, on the Breitling gate now. Schenk goes through. Strahl is already through that. The second chicane awaits both of these pilots, but there's a whole lap's difference between them. Strahl is under review. Not a surprise there for potentially having a wrong flight, as he's made a mess of a couple of these turns. Schenk is calling that done as he completes lap number 3 in a time of just over 1 minute. Strahl is still in the air. He's coming around on the end of his 3rd lap. Let's ride it out with him. He's through that closed air gate only just. He comes out over the stage. He's going to hit this crash gate at speed sometime, maybe not. He's in the netting. He's in the low netting. There's not been much of that. He's just over our audience's heads in the center of the bull ring as he tried to close it all in at the end there, but that race was long gone before he was anywhere near that crash gate. He should have got the finisher point. Right. Instead, he's beached it.
Very interesting approach by Schenk. Normally he launches very fast, but this time he decided to take it slow. And unfortunately, we had Strahl hitting one of the pylons, and this is where we see him coming low out of the last gate, right before the crash gate, and ending up into the nets. We already have our runners retrieving the drone. They're very fast.
They're good. They're on it.
Yeah. Now we have Gary Kent getting ready against Martin.
Yeah, it's going to be Gary Kent against Martin Paresh. I feel like this is quite a closely matched contest.
Oh, yeah.
2-0 though for Next Blades Racing, so the pressure's starting to loom for Swiss Black Kites.
Yeah, Gary, potentially one of the smoothest flying pilots in the competition.
Do you like a bit of smooth flying?
Yeah. Actually, it's like car racing. You need to have smooth cornering to make them as fast as possible.
There's Martin.
Yeah, who again described his own flying style as robotic, which is quite the opposite, actually, of smooth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, robotic could be smooth.
Yeah, could be.
Could be very neat. Could be very tight.
Oh,
could
yeah.
be exactly the same lap after lap. What do you think it means? Let us know in YouTube and Facebook. What's a robotic racer actually do? And can Martin do it? We'll find out. He's going to be up against Gary and Kent very soon. Hi to everybody who's with us on Facebook and YouTube. I'm joining you in on Facebook now. We are recovering drones and making sure everything is safe. Yeah, that netting is getting all good and all done. And we're enjoying ourselves here, as you can see. And yet, if you do come along, this is something you may not realize. If you do come along to any of the DCL races and you are a racer, bring some goggles. That was some of the friends of the Spain drone team right there. But yeah, if you bring your goggles, you can tap in. You can experience the flight here in real time. You can pick up the video signals that we're using, and the frequencies are all available to you. And you can actually see this stuff live and experience it for yourselves on your own FPV. Kent in blue is out in front by 2/5 of a second over Martin Paresh. Smoothly done into our second chicane, and they're both nicely through there, but Martin Paresh is just having a leisurely 2.3 second gap in front of him. He needs to do something about. He won't. He is dead on the start of lap 2. He's hit a DCL gate, which is still standing. That's another point to the gates and another point to Next Blades Racing. Gary Kent brings his lap around to complete his beautiful course through the DCL closed air gate, and he's just getting a little bit left, right, left, and home. That's the plane. Go with a noise, and Paresh doesn't get a fist bump with a heat point attached to it.
Yeah, let's take a look at what happened there.
Ooh. He's all out of control coming into that, isn't he?
Very high.
Was he out of control?
dropping.
Actually, I'm not sure I was fair there. Let's see.
I would say so, yes. Yeah. Maybe tweak his gears a little bit.
What do you mean by tweak his gears?
Well, robotic, right?
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, this is an interesting bit of drone ideas. What's he got? Okay. 3-0. Swiss Black Kites. They don't want to go into a big heat with a 4-0 deficit. 3-1 is hard enough to recover from. So, to try and do something about it, Brett Collis is the man they're going to have to stop. Second in qualifying today as well. So he's a challenge, and the man he has a challenge for is Yannick Glauser. No, Brett, that's not Gary, that's Brett Collis, and he's not looking too keen about his video there, but he's up, and Yannick Glauser is in the purple, leading drone ahead of Brett Collis through that chicane. Glauser well out in front, but Brett is coming in fast. That's how we'll do it. He may be behind in some of the what you might think of as kind of a straight in a circular circuit, if you see what I mean. But Brett has got some great cornering ability, as we know so well. And that first chicane there sees Brett nicely, cleanly through it, but Glauser still got the lead on him. Collis passes him again as he did on lap 1. Same place on lap 2, but it doesn't stick. On then, actually, Glauser keeps his hands out of this race. That is devastating for the Swiss Black Kites. Brett Collis had a proper challenge there. He could close it at times, but Glauser could keep the lead ahead of him. However, another crash for Swiss Black Kites and another point for Next Blades Racing. That is bad news for the Swiss team.
Yeah, very, very cool approach actually by Brett. He took it a little bit slow in the corners, but really went guns blazing on the slopey straight.
You dare.
Yeah, he actually managed to cover a lot of distance and catch Yannick.
Yeah.
And at these speeds, it can be quite stressful to all of a sudden have another drone pop up in front of you.
Yeah, and a surprise too, right?
Yeah, big surprise, yeah.
4-0. So, yeah, Swiss Black Kites. Let's go there one step at a time, shall we, before we even consider things like finisher points. Swiss Black Kites haven't finished a single heat. Have not had a drone reach the end.
No.
So there's a lot to do here. And this is looking very much like Next Blades Racing going to our grand final. It's an all but certainty now. Then we will come back to the big heat rerun, which will see whether Quad Force 1 or Rotorama will go up against them.
Oh, yeah.
So those are two exciting contests either way, if it is Next Blades Racing who are facing them. But that is looking like all kinds of a certainty. Never say die, but, you know, finisher points actually matter.
We have a nice
and if any of those single heat pilots for Swiss Black Kites had finished a single heat, like they crashed out of all of them, even if they hadn't won them, but had finished them, that would help right now. Because Swiss Black Kites are 4 finisher points behind.
Oh, they are.
So had they clean swept this thing, which we have to say is unlikely, but if they'd clean swept this thing, the finisher points is what's going to settle it. And if they clean sweep this thing, they may well have gone through.
Yeah.
But it is...
What I'm actually curious to see is how good is Luke Bannister? Is he able to take this first place?
Yeah, yeah.
Or is it going to be
He won his heat earlier, and he won his heat in the quarterfinals, but as was obvious to everybody watching, they were handed to him by crashes from his opponents.
Exactly, yeah.
So he's not had the full race challenge that we would love to see him do. He's an amazing pilot, world-famous pilot, but as he has been very freely admitting, he hasn't raced for 3 months.
No, he hasn't.
Had his head on his studies, which is where it should be. All credit to you, Luke. And he's such a good pilot, it's easy to say, you know, he'll definitely be a strong pilot again throughout the rest of 2018. But he has some work to catch up on.
Yeah. It is like riding a bicycle, actually. And by riding a bicycle, I mean, if you don't do it for a year, you can probably still fly.
Big heat of semi-final 2, then we'll bring you big heat of semi-final 1's rerun. Let's go with a big challenge for the purple drones, but they're in the air and a couple of them look like they want the lead. Nevertheless, it is Brett Collis who's up there first. If Strahl is out and Glauser stays down with him, this is done. Long way behind everybody is Paresh, who is looping around in the first chicane while everybody else is in the second. And Collis and Kent are way out with Bannister some way behind them. Collis, remember earlier on saying he sometimes leaves the blocks a little bit slow because he doesn't want to get mixed up and cause any sort of fights with his teammates. Instead of being a long way behind him, he's out front of them in a time of 30.44. 7/10 of a second exactly behind him. Kent Bannister, the guy you wanted to see how he was going to do, Martin. He is not in this yet. Collis, Kent Bannister and Schenk. Could it be a clean sweep of all 4 pilots? It's happened so rarely in the DCL. But when all of your opposition are down, then that makes it a lot easier, obviously. Glauser is still in this. And not where he needs to be. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Congratulations, Next Blades Racing. That's a very strong showing from them in this big heats. Why they are the world champions, why they are such a brilliant team, why they are currently leading the 2018 season and getting a bag full more points today as they are in the final.
Yeah, carnage at the beginning of the race. I think three drones hitting the first gate. But actually all of Next Blades' pilots were able to take off again.
Nine 9-0? 9-0.
9-0.
I think that's 8-0. I think that's 8-0.
I would say so.
Yeah, 4 plus
4 plus 4.
That is the first time we've had an 8-0 in the DCL. Last year, all of our quarterfinals and semifinals had 2 single heats in each and a big heat. So the most points you could get was 6. This year, we're having every pilot race, every pilot in every round, quarters and semis included, which is why you can get 8 points, and they've done it. That is the first 8-0 ever in DCL history, and it is the reigning world champions who take it. So well done, Next Blades Racing. They're through to the grand finals. Really strong showing from them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I like the prospects of the challenge that either of their opponents could face for them. This is by no means a walkover of a grand final for Next Blades Racing. They do need to wait and see who it's going to be against, though, and we were going to bring you that as soon as we can. It will be, if you don't remember, Quad Force 1 or Rotorama, who are 2-all after single heats. That's where we actually got to. After the single heats in semi-final 1, Quad Force 1 and Rotorama are 2 points each. There's our couple again here enjoying the racing, and they are facing a screen, so I think they know that we're talking about them. You can't tell, but I can see them from where I'm sat, that there are smiles on both of their faces, so that's going well. A bit of romance and drone racing, why not? What a nice way to spend a Wednesday evening. It's nearly half past 11 at night. Who's having fun? Danny Pachon is having fun with his Spanish friends. There's Spain drone team in front of our pits area. Hello to you. Welcome to everybody who's joined us here in Las Ventas and is with us for the long haul into the past midnight racing that I am pretty much guaranteeing you. We will bring our pilots straight back to our stage for the big heat. We want them all to get on with it. They want to get on with it. It'll be Evan Turner, Alex Campbell, Corey Ibanez, and Andy Marakilian Quad Force 1 against Jan Votava, Lucas Limversky, David Svoboda, and Jakob Toman for Rotorama. You want to make a cheeky prediction? You don't have to, Martijn, because if you ask me to make one, I'm feeling it being Quad Force 1's day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the final, but I'm feeling like they're going to be in it. I'm not sure they've got the big W, but I think they've got this W.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Quad Force 1 is the fastest qualifying team today. I think yeah, they have everything it takes to win this big heat.
Quad Force 1, as you said earlier, were 1st, 4th, 5th, and 12th in qualifying today. Next Blades Racing had a bit more of a mixed-up thing. Brett was 2nd, Gary Kemp was 6th, but then Heiko and Luke were 13th and 14th, respectively. So not far behind, all of them in the top 14 of both teams. Top 14 of all pilots, I mean, from both teams. That's the kind of performance we expect from these.
Yeah, yeah.
Rotorama, can they get one past Quad Force 1? I think they certainly can. Are they going to do it today?
Well, they definitely can.
They haven't faced each other in Munich in our previous 2 races. Let us know in the chat, who would you go for? Who's going to get the grand final spot opposite Next Blades Racing? Is it going to be Quad Force 1, which has got a lot of Team USA support, I know. But where's Team Czech Republic? Team CZ and all the other letters. I can't spell it. It just doesn't flow as nicely as USA. But Quad Force 1 against Rotorama will be with you really soon, live here from Madrid. Welcome to everybody who is joining us. Thank you for joining us, too. Those of you who are here in Las Ventas and those of you who are joining us online, hope you're settled in. We've got a good load more racing for you as well. We've got this big heat and then a whole grand final, and that's all going to be fun. Sunday thinks he'd bet everything on the #1 UK team. Well, yeah, Next Blades Racing are through to the final. Quad Force 1 against X-Blades is what Fat Kid wants to see. Well, you're halfway there.
Fat Kid.
Yeah, with a P and an H.
That's a nice nickname.
Sunday says next Brett's Racing. He is definitely delivering this season.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Brett was the fastest qualifier in Munich out of both days. He did the fastest qualifying time. Yeah, the fastest overall qualifying time.
If you say so. Definitely on day 2.
Matt is looking at me.
I don't think he had it on day 1.
You're looking at me like you don't trust me on this fact, but...
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. He's going to pull it up now.
I am now.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Adam Blackburn, 10-year-old British pilot for Wild Prop, was first on day 1.
Yeah, but...
I think Brett was second.
The time of Brett Collins was faster than Adam's time on the first day.
Are you finding an excuse that we're both right? Because that's okay with me. Brett was third in qualifying on day 1. I know what you mean in terms of like the best lap.
Best lap time.
But we added together the best 3 out in Munich. That's how we do it. It's not just like one hot lap wins it all.
Right.
It's got to be cumulative laps over qualifying. And that depends on the length of the circuit if you're interested in how that works. And it also turned out that Adam Blackburn, 10-year-old amazing pilot for Wild Prop, on day 1 of the whole thing, goes and takes qualifying on day 1.
Yeah. On my left, I see Rotorama near the stage, so I think we're about to get ready for this rerun. Jakob Toman warming his hands up. which is a good thing because I know that during qualifying he absolutely obliterated one of his quads. And in the big heat just now, one of their quads was on fire.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see them all ready to go.
We got some support for Rotorama. They always get a lot of support in the chat. Coolio says Rotorama will kill it. Fat Kid says Rotorama is going down. Matthew Evans, isn't Adam part of Next Page? You're talking about Adam Blackburn, I guess, who is with Wild Prop this year. He raced with Next Blades last year. Yes, he did. He is on the Wild Prop team this year. Wild Prop was the name we gave to our wildcard teams all around the world list last year. Wild Prop's a team in its own right this year, and Adam Blackburn is flying for that.
Teams now have 60 seconds to get on stage for the rerun. If the teams won't make it on time, they will be disqualified. 60 seconds.
Lucas Baumann gets this show on the road. Quad Force 1 walk onto our stage. They are here. They are ready to go. The drones definitely seem to be ready to go. And I see 4 Rotorama pilots making their way onto the stage. That's really strange, because as far as I can tell, everybody was waiting to be told to go on. I think you should record, Stefan. I think that's a stage management issue.
It could be that there were some issues behind the scenes.
No,
maybe one of the drones wasn't ready, trying to do some last moment fixes. I've been there. I've been there. But it's good. All pilots seem to be ready, set up.
8 pilots are getting themselves kitted up then. They've got a certain number of seconds to get this big heat in the air. Who's got it? Who's got it?
Yeah. Some of the pilots turning their phone on mute.
RC Girl 383. USA has this in the bag. Fist bump. Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Will we get 4 USA pilots this time? Asks Fat Kid. Well, that is a really good question. Now, I've got to tell you, that's Jan Votava for Rotorama, but on the other side of the stage, and I know Matej wants Rotorama to win this and thinks they will. I've got to tell you, Evan Turner is not putting a headset on. He's on the stage. He's on the very left there, as you can see. There's his 3 teammates. They are... Evan is a very, very relaxed pilot. He's brilliant. He's 15 years of age. But he still needs a headset to fly. You can't do this line of sight. You're not allowed to do this line of sight. And he doesn't even have an FPV goggle in his hands.
Oh,
and
really?
his starting podium is not lit. So that man there, Evan Turner, great pilot, really fast in qualifying here in Munich. That is the face of a pilot who's not featuring in a big heat. He's not taking part. I'll try and find out why for you.
Yeah, it doesn't
At the
look
moment,
happy.
though, no, we do have 4 Rotorama podiums lit up. Our starting podium's light when the drones are ready to go. And the fastest one for Rotorama, that's Jakob Thoman. He is, or is not, ready. So you can see Evan Turner's podium is dead because there's no drone on it. The red ones are all lit now, but Jakob Thoman's was possibly not going to do it. Our starting block team are checking something. Maybe quads are armed, but we've now got a video issue. I think that's what they're checking. What are you telling us? Yeah, Jakob Thoman's video is, I think, not up and running. Now, this may come into a little bit of an investigation, I think, as to what side his problem is on. They've taken the drone off the blocks.
Yeah.
This will be interesting to see whether this fits into the timeline that Lucas Baumann, our chief judge, applied to getting this one on. He did say it was only for the pilots to get on stage, so I don't think Jakob Thoman's going to get wiped out of this race for that reason. But he only has a certain amount of time in the rules. If he has a problem with a drone on the starting blocks, there's only a certain amount he can do to get a second one on there. They can bring 2 to the starting grid. They can hand 2 into our runners team. If one of them isn't ready to go, a second one can be ready. But if his second one isn't ready to go, I think that's his big heat done with.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a 3 versus 3.
Yeah, Evan Turner is on stage looking right across at the action here. His teammates have all got goggles on. Corey's lifted his up now. Andy Marakilian on stage has raised his up now. Evan's got a look of him on stage as though, oh, I don't feel quite so bad if this is 3 versus 3.
Yeah, there's no video signal on Jakob Thoman's drone, it seems.
Lucas. Okay, Evan is out.
Yeah, Jakub is not having any video. Yeah, that's got to be hard on the team because Jakub Toman was the fastest qualifier for Rotorama. Yeah, who would also have the best chance
Okay,
of actually
Toman's got
winning
something
this one.
now. Toman's got some piece of video. It's not good. We've got access to all of the FPVs. We can see what the pilots see in real time. And his video's coming and going. I see Toman not featuring this. This is looking like it's going to turn into a 3-on-3, which makes Quad Force 1 feel a lot better. But remember, it's winner takes all.
10 seconds countdown.
Lucas tells us it's happening. I can't get a clear view of whether Toman is in this. His video's not. I don't think he is.
Nope.
It's 3-on-3, and only one drone needs to win it for their team, and they're all up. All 6 of them in the air, and the blue ones of Quad Force 1 are in the lead through the DCL gate, but Votava has passed Campbell on the exit of that, and is still in the lead with him. It is Campbell between Votava and Svoboda at the moment. Quad Force 1 in the lead, though, at the end of lap 1. Campbell's passed on the exit of that and got into a bit of difficulty. Svoboda, Lenversky and Votava are behind him at the moment. Campbell's out front. One of them, I think Votava, has gone into problems and has to loop back and complete the Breitling gate. One of the Quad Force 1 drones is in trouble, but still in the air, but Campbell is where he wants to be. Chief for the American team is in the lead. Svoboda's not letting him have it all to himself. Svoboda's still with him into chicane number 2. Campbell has still got that lead. Svoboda's got a slower exit. He's 3/5 of a second behind him. Campbell comes around. It's all on his final turn. Oh, now that is an incredible finish. Quad Force 1 are in the air on stage. Personally, as they leap around thinking they've got it. Timekeeping is suggesting it is 0.04 of a second between Campbell and Lenversky. In Lenversky's favor, that is gonna get double checked. That whole big heat is again under investigation. Rotorama are off the stage. Quad Force 1 have already left the stage. Quad Force 1 think they've got it. Rotorama think from that body language that they don't. I don't have confirmation yet. Actually, looking at that in a bit of slow-mo, it does look like Campbell has definitely got that win. I think 0.04 of a second is the separation between Rotorama and Quad Force 1 being in the finals, and it's the blue team who's there.
Look at those guys. All the excitement.
That's the man who won it for him,
Well
right
deserved.
there in the middle.
Well deserved.
That's the Chief.
This man can fly.
That's Alex Campbell. He's 22. They call him the Chief. And he takes his team to a final, and it is a great final that we've got for you, because it is a rematch of the last Drone Prix that we did out in Munich. It was Next Blades Racing against Quad Force 1. And here in Madrid, we got it again. It's definite now that it is Quad Force 1 going 3-2 over Rotorama into our grand final. That's what awaits us. So Rotorama will come out in the semi-finals alongside Swiss Black Kites. One of those will get 150 for the season for 4th, and one of those will get 200 for 3rd. That's going to be worked out on those all-important finisher points. Early indications of that suggest then that I think Rotorama had 15 prior to that, and Swiss Black Kites, I think, carried 11. It looks like Swiss Black Kites will get their first points of the season, but it'll be 150 of them. It looks like Rotorama should pick up 200, but we'll confirm all of this at the end of today. But ahead of all of the teams before we started today was Next Blades Racing, and they are in the final with 450 points to their name. But Quad Force 1 had 220 after that runner-up place to them, and they won't want to take a runner-up place to them again today.
Yeah, they're making a move, aren't they? So Next Blades Racing and Quad Force 1 already had probably one of the best finals I've ever seen in Munich.
The one in Munich, yeah, that whole day of racing, not only like the second day of racing of the year, but I think the best day of racing we've ever had in the Drone Champions League.
Yeah.
I'd go that far. The final was great, but across the whole day, we had thrilling races. We had a 1/100th of a second gap between two finishes. Closest finish we've ever had.
Yeah, that's what we call photo finish. So let's see. In Munich, Next Blades were able to
Under review.
get that first place.
Quad Force 1 against Rotorama. I think we're just going to show you how close that finish is. There you go. That's Campbell in blue. And that's a finals place for Quad Force 1. You've got to love those close finishes.
Oh, yeah.
And all credit, got to really say, to Lucas Lemberski, who came in behind him there. I think it was Lemberski. For really closing that gap on that final turn. He nearly took him, and it was that last bit. You do these 3 laps, then you go around one more pylon and through another DCL closed gate, and then you do that big banked left turn and put it into the crash gate, which is behind you. I'm not sure those timings are accurate, to be fair. As you saw on that photo finish, I'm hearing it was 4/100ths of a second, so apologies for that. Lucas Lemberski gets the runners-up place behind him, gets the finish point for it, but that's not going to matter. It is all over for Rotorama today. Team USA go towards their dream, which is a win on Independence Day.
Oh, yeah. You're right. The 4th of July, huh?
So we've alluded a lot to what's happened in 2017, our amazing series of racing as we traveled around the world with the some of the teams you see this year and some pilots who aren't with us this year. We told you Next Blades Racing, they're in this final, they're the reigning world champions. How did they get there? Well, it all went round to the last day of an incredible series of races through some amazing real-world locations. That's what we do in the Drone Champions League. This is what it looked like. The Drone Champions League 2017 season. Here's what's been happening all over Europe. We started our season in Paris, under the Arc de Triomphe, in front of 180,000 spectators. From there, we headed to Vaduz, the capital of Liechtenstein, around the government and parliament buildings of the Principality. Off to Brussels, a unique city centre course on the Mont des Arts. Then Salina Terra, a salt mine in Romania. And that brings us to the big decider in Germany. The course for our season finale winds its way around an ex-train depot in the heart of Berlin. 9 teams join us in Paris on an incredible course, underground and above. Quarterfinals over sees FPV Racing go through to race against Rotorama, and Flyduino Kiss Racing will be playing against Next BR Free Flow. Our first semi-final on the Champs-Élysées, it's Rotorama in red and FPV Racing in the green. We're now on board with Jan Mittner, the only one still flying. The lateral gate has claimed him though. Now Raphael Strahl has passed him for FPV Racing, and he takes it home into the crash gate. FPV Racing, who weren't in the lead at any time in that, are in the lead when it counts. The semi-final has Next BR Free Flow in the white and green drones against this side, Flyduino Kiss Racing in red. A little bit kind of reckless, edgy flying going on here as he attempts to take it over Pashon. It's between Pashon and Soleil. Pashon's made a mistake. He's got to go around and complete that turn again, which means Soleil takes the win for Flyduino Kiss Racing. Time to put those nerves aside and make this count and take the points for your team. Up to the connector goes Timothy Trowbridge and into the roof of the net, which leaves it now just for Soleil, who's got to keep his nerves under control, throwing it a little bit wildly. Good line through the lateral. He stopped in front of the DCL gate. He hit the DCL gate. He's managed to recover it off the ground, and into the crash gate finally goes Soleil, and that makes Flyduino Kiss Racing the champions of the first race in the DCL 2017 season. From there, we headed to Vaduz, the capital of Liechtenstein, where the pilots tested their skills around the government and parliament buildings of the Principality. Surely a full start for one of Next Blades Racing, but Schenk in the lead, Yogi under review as well, and Stropey. Ken over Blackburn in second and third. Schenk taking the win. Heiko Schenk for Conrads. Everybody's up. Stutz moving positions out the back, but it's going to be Madru and Sun with the green drones going in screen. Well, he's missed the crash gate. Madru missed it. Sun right behind him nailed it. FPV Racing To win here in Vaduz, they need to take all 3 positions. Final, as we get ready. Here we are on board with Sheck on his second lap. His opponent stood some way behind him. Through order Fox and taking the win, Heiko Sheck for Conrad Racing Team in a time of 49.34. Conrad Racing Team managed to take their first win of the season. FPV clocked up another runners-up position. Brussels was a stern test of pilot and machine with both a night race and a day race. So after our 4 quarterfinals, Next Blades Racing took out IRC and Gemfan knocked out Flyduino Kiss. So that's our first semi-final. Then FPV and Rotorama face each other in the second after they knocked out Wild Prop and NextBR Free Flow. All 8 drones out of the starting blocks, and it's the blue ones for Next Blades Racing with the better start. Karen Gartanovic for Gemfan is in the lead, but now he's down, and his teammates are all out of this. Brett Collis flying through the library gallery section, and the first spot in the grand final is theirs. His teammate Gary Kent doing a little spin before bringing it gently into the crash gate to clock a finishing time. It is all the blue drones out in the lead from the starting blocks, and then it is just Timothy Trowbridge up front for his team. He threw that in exactly 1 minute. Timothy Trowbridge takes his team to the grand final. Next Blades Racing in green, FPV Racing in blue in the final race. Brett Collis is in the lead but hits a gate, and he is already down and out of it. Matt Poshvold over the fountain but overshoots the trees and into the side wall. Timothy Trowbridge in the lead for FPV Racing, clips a tree, he is done. Mark Heidegger flying at great speed through the trees, exits through the pylons, hits a tree on the way out, a little too hasty. Adam goes through it, Gary misses it, massively overshoots and is into the bushes. It's now between Kai Stutz and Raphael Strahl for FPV. No longer Kai Stutz. Raphael Strahl, the last remaining drone for FPV, tries to come out of the trees too quickly. He is done. Adam Blackburn wins it for Next Blades Racing and a 5-0 sweep for them. FPV Racing remain at the top of the season standings with their 3rd runners-up position, giving them 660 points as we went underground into Selina Turda. So IRC have knocked out NextBR Free Flow, Flyduino Kiss beat out Conrad Racing Team, Next Blades are in the semi-finals after beating Gemfan 2-1, and you've seen Rotorama are here over FPV. Back to this semi-final and the all-deciding big heat between IRC and Flyduino Kiss. All of Flyduino Kiss are done. It is Hogenberg 2 seconds ahead of Krasny. We're on board with him now as he completes the clockwise turn under the canopy. He puts it into the crash gate. 5-0 for IRC. It's Rotorama and Next Blades Racing here though for the big heat that will settle who'll be in the grand final. Brett Collis, he's still in the air. Harry Plested is still in the air, but it's 3 Rotorama drones who separate them. Brett Collis though up front with Jan Minner. It's a scrap between them, and Brett Collis is into the crash gate first. Their pilot David Svoboda nearly crosses the line, but he's hit the side of the crash gate and come down, which means Rotorama go through and they will be facing IRC. To be the champion of Selina Turda in Romania, it is IRC in first, second and third. Exactly what they need to do. 2 of the Rotorama drones are down, 3 of the Rotorama drones are down. IRC are now all against Peter Meyer. Krasny and Groves still in the front, but Irie has lost the position to Meyer. Krasny is home. Groves and a yellow drone of Vince Irie goes in as well. If Vince has third, they would win. But after a close review, it's given to Meyer. Rotorama, who take 250 points and close the gap between them and Next Blades Racing to just 20 points for the season. The course for our season finale winds its way around an ex-train depot in the heart of Berlin. The overall standings going into the final race of our season. 3 teams can be the world champions, and Rotorama will need a result early on to catch Flyduino or Next Blades. The semi-finals look like this. Next Blades Racing have an eye on being our world champions. The sister team could knock out their rivals Flyduino Kiss. The blue ones for Next Blades Racing and the Conrad World team very much in the thick of things amongst them. Luke Bannister well ahead of everybody onto his second lap. Matt Poshvold and Gary Kent moving up and around him as well as the Conrad Racing team are dropping out of this race one by one. Luke Bannister brings it home. Next Blades Racing are through to the grand final. They all take off, all 8 drones. Flyduino Kiss are all down. Johnny Sher still having a fight with his teammates up front. Young Rock Sun, the South Korean pilot, is the only one of the 8 to make it to the finish. Next BR Free Flow have made it an all-next final. Next BR Free Flow in green. Next Blades Racing in blue, and all 8 drones into the air for the big heat, and some of them immediately colliding with the very first obstacle. Ashton's clipped something and he is down and out, which means Luke Bannister has the whole course all to himself in what's become a bit of a show match to finish the season. Next Blades Racing win this day 4-1, but of course are the world champions for the DCL. What a season. What happy memories of 2017. It was such a thrill to be involved in all the races in those incredible locations. Thank you to DCL for bringing me on board. It's one of my favorite things I get to do anywhere in the world, and we do get to see some amazing places. This is Las Ventas, awaiting our grand final here of our 3rd race of 2018 and the first race of this location. But Martin, you were racing, of course, last season. We'll talk about that first. I just want to show you what's going on online. Remember, we are on Instagram as Drone Champions League and hashtag DCL 2018.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to let us know your thoughts or pictures, of course. And yeah, we're having some fun on Instagram. So yeah, Drone Champions League on Instagram, and you can find us on Facebook.com/Drone Champions League if you're not watching on there. If you're watching us on YouTube, then you already know it's youtube.com/Drone Champions League. That's where we are. And Drone Champions, because we can't fit in EAG will do on Twitter. And I'm Matt Andrews TV, MATTANDREWS TV. Matt Andrews TV on everything, on all of those things. Find me on there. Join me on there. I'm on all those things. What about you, Martijn de Kemp?
Yeah, I'm pretty anonymous. No, I'm not actually. You can find my pilot profile on Full Stick FPV. But you can find my team.
Oh, yes.
I'm more of a team player. On Facebook. We're called Team SQG. That's Super Quadcopter Gang.
Super Quadcopter Gang.
Don't ask me the state we were in when we came up with that, but it involved a lot of beer.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So, grand final's coming. It's going to be between Quad Force 1 and Next Blades Racing. I'm seeing some people in YouTube going, oh, come on, that reaction's a bit over the top. I'm not quite sure what people are referring to, I'll be honest with you. The people like Quad Force 1 leaping up and down and being really happy about their win, I'm all good with that.
Yeah.
If there was something specific that I didn't see, and I didn't see anything untoward at all, I'm all good with teams celebrating their win. But if you've got different opinions,
there was a comment on the social wall about. Okay.
No, on YouTube right now.
I like the excitement.
I do.
Yeah.
You know what? It matters, and I'm all good with that. It matters. But what it is interesting to say is we've got a USA versus UK final. So we do have a very much Team USA team against us polite, reserved, quiet. We would never even dream of clapping ourselves.
No,
Brits.
wouldn't you?
No, God, no.
You guys are doing well in the Football World Championship.
We are, in the Football World Championship. Yes, right. In the Championship of World Football, we're still in.
World Football.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
In the ball kicking tournaments, we're going to be kicking a ball around some more. Look at that. Well done, England over Colombia. Yeah, that was exciting stuff. If you haven't seen that already, spoilers. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, we're still in that. USA. Well, we got that win. Yeah, it's going to be UK versus USA. So who are you with? Are you with Team USA or Team U of K? Let us know in the chat, and we will bring it to you shortly. Obviously, after those 2 big heats and the teams, it's they need a little bit of time to get ready, but look, you can see the spirits that are all in there. Everybody's very, very happy to go.
Yeah, so Evan Turner, we see Evan Turner there talking with the team manager of the German air carvers.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to fly in the last 2 runs, actually. So
yeah, now this may be a quads issue. I don't actually have the numbers.
I think so.
And this is a question that's been asked on YouTube here by Matthew Evans, who's my brother due to us having the same name. If Evan has run out of quads and couldn't fly, is that the same in the finals? Yes, it is. Unless... no, I think he's basic. well, you know what, this is a very interesting point. We've never actually got to this stage. Every pilot can bring between 3 and 5 quads. They really ought to bring as many as they can. For this grand final that you see, which is about to happen between Quad Force 1 and Next Blades Racing, you can, like, we've praised the teams many a time for helping each other out, for lending kit to each other. You know, if you've broken a certain component or you've, I mean, nobody runs out of propellers, but should you run out of something, another team will definitely lend that to you. When it comes to an entire quad, they have been lent around before as well.
Yep.
I'm not sure what Evan Turner is bringing to this final. That's the truth. Let's find out. There they are. They are the American hopefuls on their Independence Day. They are looking to take the whole big W here. Evan Turner's goggling up. He's got something to fly. Goggling up, that's what that's called. If you want Slopey, I'm having goggling up. The opposition. That's Young Rock's son. He's not here. He was with us in Munich.
Yeah, he is. Or he isn't, rather. Great sportsmanship between the two teams.
Yeah. Dominic Roche, team manager, joining in as well.
So our first heat is going to be Luke Bannister against Evan Turner. If, then again, Evan Turner is able to fly, but...
I think he is. I think he's in this
yeah.
thing. And now this is a fight, isn't it? Evan Turner against Luke Bannister. You want to see what Luke Bannister's still got after having been out of practice. Well,
yeah.
He's going to have to bring it all now. This young 15-year-old pilot is deadly. You wouldn't know that, perhaps, from some of the stuff today, and certainly in qualifying. But in Munich, Evan Turner was all over that course at speed. And he could certainly pull something quick out of the bag against Luke Bannister here.
Yeah, Luke is actually wearing earbuds. It's not for communication.
What does he listen to?
I am not really sure. Although I do know that 2 years ago he had a song that started off really slow and ended up being really up-tempo and aggressive. And he told me once that that really helps him to start off slow, find the rhythm of the track, and then speed it up over the course of the race. Which I think, is a very interesting approach.
So we are into our big final. And remember, this is our third race of the DCL season. There's going to be 12 altogether. And we have some surprise locations that I would love to announce, but we're going to get in with the racing. Yes, that's the thing. You're never going to get told. We do have an amazing location to go to next that's going to blow everybody away. But for the moment, we're in the beautiful city of Madrid, the capital of Spain. We're in this incredible bull ring. It's almost midnight, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. Our fourth race of the season will be here in Madrid. Same time tomorrow, 9 p.m. live Central European time. The final of this one begins. Evan Turner in white, Luke Bannister in blue. 1/10 of a second between two young, brilliant pilots. Turner hits that closed air gate hard and is in the ceiling netting. And he is gonna stay there, I think. Wherever he did get that drone from, it's not coming back to him, or whoever lent it to him, yet. Bannister gets 1 point for Next Blades Racing. Now, to be fair for Evan Turner, that may be a drone that's just not his and he's never flown it before.
Yep.
We really don't actually know at this point.
It could be.
But it is in the highest point of the netting. Got in all sorts of trouble. How did he get so high?
He clipped the gate.
Yeah.
He clipped one of the gates, and then his quad just spiraled up to the net, into the top nets, and that could actually be a problem because it doesn't seem to be at a spot where they can take it out easily. So that could potentially mean, I don't want to get ahead of things, but it could potentially mean that he's not going to be able to use that video channel in the big heat, so that he's not able to fly the big heat.
Turner's out of that first one. Campbell, though, wants to get a point on the board against Heiko Schenk. Campbell in the light blue, Schenk in the bright blue, and behind him, closing on him, though, and they come into chicane number 2 on lap number 1. It is Campbell getting Schenk in front of him on the exit of that closed air gate. Schenk pulled that a lot closer, and he keeps the lead as they go into chicane number 1, but Schenk gets into trouble and loses a lot of ground and air to Alex Campbell, chief of Quad Force 1. He nearly puts it into the bottom of the DCL gate on the exit of the second chicane. Schenk is under review for a wrong flight. It looks like he might have missed a turn on that spot where he did get into difficulties. He's got to keep fighting this thing out, though, in case he's found to have gone the right way. They go round chicane number 2. Campbell still in the lead. Schenk a little bit behind him now. Campbell's hit that gate hard. You see it there. You hear the audience reaction. Campbell, after being in the lead right to the end of the third lap, watches a second point go the other way. That is terrible for him.
Absolutely
he had that
terrible.
One. That is going to hurt.
Yeah, what happened there is that Heiko Schenk actually missed one turn, had to go back, retake it.
There he is behind our stage that they're sat on.
Clipping the gate hard.
Yeah.
While he was on a
This
pretty
is
comfortable
Schenk.
lead.
Now, Schenk may have gone the wrong way. So far, so good.
Yep.
Did he make this pylon? Looks like he's... Yes, he's made that pylon.
I think that's where we saw Campbell crash right in front of him.
Okay, so the question is that point definitely confirmed for Heiko Schenk? If he was under review for a wrong flight,
yeah, I would
then
say...
I think we'll need to rerun it. But I don't see...
No, to be honest, I have this
us.
beautiful screen right in front of me.
I know you do.
And I could clearly see Schenk retaking that corner. So what happens actually behind the scenes is we have a big team of spotters.
Yeah.
And each one of those spotters are looking at individual pilots' feeds. And once someone takes a wrong corner, immediately they hit a button that says wrong flight.
Yeah, that's how it works, but those are then reviewed. So
those are then
they
reviewed.
They have to be checked again, but if they watch it all, we have somebody watching every individual pilot, and that's how we get those under review flags.
Yep.
Looks like he's been given it, though.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it's going to stick, and it's going to remain 2-0 to the UK team. Oh, UK versus USA, Independence Day fight. Just gone on to the 5th of July here in Madrid, though, but we won't let that matter. Gary Kent and Corey Ibanez side by side out of that gate. That's beautiful. Ibanez currently in a time of 24 days. Not sure that's right. But this is what it looks like for him as Kent passes him. Kent's got that brilliant exit speed. There it is again, passing him. It's going to go one way and then the other, isn't it? And we love it like that. They both screw up this close air gate on the start of the lap. Both of them had to twitch back and get it. Both of them did recover it, but Kent is now some way ahead, even if it is in 24 days. Ibanez, 3.99 behind him. Kent's getting flagged up for all sorts of potential issues, which might explain some of that timing problem. I don't see how he got an early start if it took him 29 days to get there, but a wrong flight is definitely a possibility. Corey Ibanez still in this. There he goes. He's missed that turn. He goes back and collects that pylon. That's going to count for him. And Gary Kent is on to his final lap as Corey Ibanez begins his final lap now. They're both being flagged for review. This is definitely going to need a little bit of studying afterwards. One of the drones is home. It's Ibanez.
Yeah.
Gary Kent's only just getting there. Now that is a real mix-up in terms of flights. That's going to need definite careful checking.
Yeah.
Because for most of that, it would seem Gary Kent had it, and yet it was a light blue Quad Force 1 drone flown by Corey Ibanez that found the finish line first.
Right. Yeah, I think both quads, or both pilots, were lost on the track.
Yeah.
I think first off, Gary Kent decided to skip one of the chicanes. And afterwards, Ibanez did the same thing. I did see
I'm
Gary.
not sure Ibanez finished it. I know he made the crash gate.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure he completed the entire track of 3 laps plus an extra pylon and gate to do it. We can't see everything from our commentary position. We're in the middle of this bull ring, but the racing goes behind us as it does behind the stage as well. That's the stage. We are just off the left of that picture, and the flying goes on over us and behind us. So we watch as much as we can. We see the whole thing as you see it. That's what I'm commentating from. I'm seeing exactly what you see. This is completely and utterly live to you, the Drone Champions League. So we are getting this whole thing as you see it. There's no post-production stuff going on here. There's no cheating or drama for the sake of it or anything. We are as much aware of what we as what you see, as you understand. I am not clear that Corey finished that, but I've got to be honest, I'm not clear Gary did either.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised if that's a complete rerun, as neither pilot finished it.
Yeah.
But if one pilot pulls off his competition, if he gets to the finish line first and it's just a genuine mistake, then
well, actually,
your opponent's probably got further. Tell you who does know. The man in charge of all of our spotters who collates all of the responses and works it out. Lucas Baumann on stage, our chief judge, has a decision.
Gary Kent will be disqualified from the single heat for wrong flight.
And there's your answer. Careful study going on. Corey Ibanez gets it. So maybe the reason Gary Kent looked like he was in the lead for some of it is because that wrong flight flag that came up way like in the middle of the second lap. That may well be the reason he was in the lead, is because he'd missed a pylon. If he'd missed anything, I think it can only have been a pylon in a chicane. I'm pretty sure he made all the closed air gates. Or he blew something at the end. Either way, Corey Ibanez got there, got the finisher point, and got a heat point with it. They needed that. It's now 2-1 Next Phase Racing.
10 seconds countdown.
Lucas tells us that the full single heat is upon us. This is a scrap. Brett Collis and Andy Marakilian. Today they are first and second in qualifying, but it was Marakilian who got the faster lap time, and it was 2.8 seconds faster than Brett Collis. Marakilian owns Las Ventas today. Collis has got, and it's an unusual thing to say about him, Collis has got some work to do. He's 3/5 of a second exactly behind Andy Marakilian. But Brett comes down with a lot of speed on his descent into the first chicane. He's passed Marakilian on the exit as they've gone halfway around the track now. And in the second chicane, Collis was in the lead for most of it, but Marakilian devoured that chicane, came out of it with an incredible little bit of line. And nearly a second is actually where he is now over Brett Collis. His teammates are screaming to him so loudly on stage in support. I can hear them over this commentary headset I'm wearing, and I'm not even close to him. Not that close to him. There we are on the bottom right of your picture. Collis here has got a lot to do. Can't get it on the final turn though. Andy Marakilian destroyed everybody in qualifying and gave Brett Collis maybe the best race he's ever had. Brett did not come close to him. No. After that action on the first lap where Brett took him into the chicane, Marakilian left another chicane and Brett for good.
Yeah. Marakilian is really killing it today. Let's take a look at one of those slow-mos. Or our beautiful crash gate. The runners retrieving the drones and setting them up.
Slow-mo's just coming. We want to show you exactly what happened there. We'll bring you a little bit more action from that between Marakilian and Collis.
We actually have the Marakilian's drone catapulting her back out of the crash gate again. And that was quite impressive.
But it counts. You don't have to stay in it. You just have to get in it. That's the finish line. In Munich, when we were on the edge of the Munich Olympic Lake in the Olympic Park, young Roxanne was flying for Next Phase Racing. Got into the finish gate so fast he bounced out of it, cartwheeled across the grass and ended up about 2 meters from the crash gate in the lake. But it was a win. Now look at that. We've said it earlier on today. I've told you it happens a lot in DCL. It is literally winner takes all right now, because the winner of this big heat, just the one who finds the Red Bull crash gate first, makes their team the champions of today. 2 all on heat points. Can't be any closer than that. So who's got it? Who do you think is going to take it? Will it be USA on what will be the 4th of July in America, even if it is the 5th of July still here. Or is the UK got it? Who's got this? Who can take it? UK or USA? Next Blades Racing or Quad Force 1?
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I know everybody who's watching is so excited too. Thank you for joining us on YouTube and Facebook. Who's got this? Let us know, and also tweet us, hashtag DCL18. And if you're here in Madrid and having fun, then stick that up on Instagram with the hashtag DCL18 as well. Who's got this thing? Who do you think can take it? I don't know. The big question in my mind is Andy Marakilian.
Oh, yeah.
Because with the strength of the pilots that Next Blades Racing has, you would rarely bet against them.
Yep.
Quad Force 1 have a team of 4 great pilots, but one of them is the guy who just won that single heat. His name is Andy Marakilian, and he was 2.83 seconds faster over his cumulative qualifying lap times than Brett Collis and all the other 34 pilots here in Madrid. So although you would rarely bet against Next Blades Racing, as I say, Andy Marakilian destroyed everybody.
He did.
In qualifying.
But...
And his teammates are also great.
They are. They are definitely great. I love a final like this. It's really up for grabs. Also, I think we haven't seen the best of Luke Bannister yet.
True. But I'm not sure he's bringing it today.
No, me neither.
And if he doesn't, I think it's a wake-up call for him. But he's been doing what he should do, which is his studies. So nobody's going to take that away from him. But I think it'll make him, he knows he's got to put some more work back in. He knows he's not the pilot he was 3 months ago. He's still phenomenal.
He is.
And he's here, right? And you would not be on Next Blades Racing with the reigning world champions, and you would not be in the DCL unless you are truly one of the best pilots in the world.
Right.
But there he is. He knows he's just not
10
as...
seconds countdown.
He's not as race ready, he's not as fight ready as he was a few months ago when he helped the team win it in Berlin. This is it. This is it. This is the grand final here in Munich. One of Quad Force 1, and it is the chief, Andy Campbell. Won't be featuring Alex Campbell, is not in this thing. And Luke Bannister won't be doing it for Next Blades Racing. He's out. Corey Ibanez is down, but Collis, Kent and Schenk want to take this thing in style. However, that boy, Andy Marakilian, I say boy, that man is up front, fighting out with Brett Collis. He's done. He's out of this. It's all on Corey Ibanez, who is back in the fight. And possibly in the lead. It's very hard to tell who is where at the moment. We're looking like Collis. Schenk and Kent has probably got this in the bag. There are white drones still in the air. Collis is done though. Schenk and Kent is in mid-air between one of each drone, but they both managed to keep it up in the air. There's a huge fight going on to take this thing, but I think it is Kent who's ultimately got it. I thought a light blue drone went in second. That is an exciting grand final, and not clear what the absolute definitive winner is. We got definitely some jump start at the beginning.
I think we got a jump start from Alex Campbell.
Yeah.
I saw his squad lifting up. Yeah, that's where you see it. His squad is lifting up a little bit too soon. Very unfortunate on his behalf.
Yeah, you see that flashing podium? That's a jump start. That's him done. Brett's picture is all over bad, isn't it? But he's still flying it, as he always does.
It is.
I think we lose him here. I think this is the mid-air, and it was Brett. Nope, okay. There was a mid-air clip, but both drones saved it.
Slow-mo footage of really, really fast racing.
He's going to hit a railing. Nope. He's going to hit that one. Handshakes on stage.
Well done by Next Blades.
I think those are handshakes on stage of well raced between both those teams for giving us a great big final, but it's not 100% confirmed who's got it. We'll give it to you as soon as we've got it. It was such a close finish that it's not perhaps as cut and dry. And I think we're giving it 1, 2, and 3 to the champions of our first day of racing and night of racing in Madrid. Next Blades Racing are the champions today. Tea and crumpets, pile of carbon. I'm with you on that. Nice cup of tea for all the gents of the UK team. Sad for Corey, Andy, Alex, and Evan, who don't get to raise their stars and stripes on the top step of the podium.
Yeah.
Campbell's got a smile on his face to the left of the stage, though, congratulating Swiss Black Kites, congratulating Next Blades Racing. There's loads of high fives happening. That was a brilliant day and night of racing. We'll get our podium to you and properly congratulate our champions. Currently in the lead before we started today and sticking out some more. Next Blades Racing take 250 points to the top of the DCL leaderboard. Rotorama go second on 530. Quad Force 1 now up to 440 points, doubling what they had after 2 runners-up positions. Raiden Racing, haven't seen them at all today after they were 9th in qualifying. They're still on 420. That's all their points from Munich, keeping them 4th in the season. And Swiss Black Kites have made it on to the end of that leaderboard in 7th after picking up some points today. And as they walk across the dusty sand pit, that is a bull ring called Las Ventas, to our podium on the other side, we'll bring you the trophy celebration soon. What an amazing load of racing that was. Our teams make their way over to the podium. Everybody looking happy. Most of all, of course, Next Blades Racing, who were top of the leaderboard and now are a little bit more top of the leaderboard.
Yep.
There's not much on it, but there's only 3 races in. We'll do it all again tomorrow. We'll do qualifying throughout the day tomorrow. When you join us from 9 p.m. Central European time in here in Madrid today, because it's midnight. Join us 9 p.m. in Central European time on Thursday, 8 p.m. in the UK, wherever you are. Join us for more racing. Qualifying will all be done, and we'll tell you who's going to be up in the quarterfinals. It'll be different. There'll be different teams fighting in it. It's pretty sure we'll see Quad Force 1 and Next Blades Racing make it into the top 8 teams and be in some quarterfinals. They may even face each other in the first quarterfinal tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That can always happen, or in one of the quarterfinals tomorrow. Let's congratulate the winners of today before we think about racing them tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all of our teams on a thrilling day's racing. Please welcome to our podium in 3rd place, Rotorama.
Well done by these guys.
Team of Jan Votava, Lucas Lemversky, David Svoboda, and Jakub Toman. 3rd place are Rotorama, and now after that amazing grand final, please welcome our runners-up, Quad Force 1! So close to that all-American dream of winning on Independence Day, but amazing racing from Evan Turner, Alex Campbell, Corey Ibanez, and Andy Marakilian. A thrilling final between them and our champions of the day. Congratulations to Next Blades Racing! Brett Collis, Heiko Schenk, Gary Kent, and Luke Bannister. They are Next Blades Racing. They are the champions of today in Madrid. Congratulations, Next Blades Racing. We will be back again tomorrow for our second Drone Prix of Madrid, live here in the Las Ventas Bull Ring from 9 p.m. Central European time and Madrid time. Will Next Blades Racing win it again? Join us tomorrow, 9 p.m. here in Madrid for another thrilling day and evening of racing. I'm Matt Andrews. Thank you to Martijn de Kemp, all of our team on DCL behind the scenes, and these incredible pilots. Congratulations again, Next Blades Racing.